Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you can solve this puzzle, you are at least a 1000 plus rated player. We are continuing in our series. This is puzzle number 9. It is black to play. Pause the video now. As always, I want these puzzle videos to be educational and instructive. Otherwise, you could solve 874 puzzles on your own. So I picked this position for several reasons. Number one, it obviously is going to feature a concept that we have not discussed on this channel yet. Second, this will be a brief introduction and segue into one of the tactical conditions that I will be discussing in part 2 of our tactics recognition mini series that will be coming out very soon. Finally, it also features a couple of our strategies from the list of 10 middle game strategies in that series that we just wrapped up. And that concept is overloaded pieces. So let's first define what is an overloaded piece. And that is simply a piece that has multiple defensive responsibilities. So, for example, in this position, if we look defensively from black side, if we take a look here at the rook on g6, it has two different defensive responsibilities. It is protecting the weak pawn on c6, and it is protecting the queen on g4. So we can say that the rook has a dual role. And sometimes it's like a tug of war. So a piece is being pulled in different directions. And the issue with overloaded pieces is they can be easily deflected. Okay, before we go over the solution to the original puzzle, let's take a look at this second position. I'll give you guys just a few seconds, a moment to observe and digest the position. So if you watched part 1 of the tactics recognition and training video that I posted a few days ago, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to pause the video here using our new definition of an unprotected piece. Do you guys see that condition being met in this position? Pause the video now. Okay, yes, we do. So we have three different examples. We have the bishop. This is a 1 versus 1, although those are not equal value pieces. We have the queen on the bishop. This is a 1 versus 1, again, not equal value pieces. And we also have these two rooks. This is a 2 versus 2, right? So here we go. Based on that new definition, now that triggers the alarm. Puzzle alert, right? So the condition is met. So now we start looking for tactics. But in this case, we're going to add our new wrinkle, which are overloaded pieces. Now, there are several pieces here in the position for black that have multiple responsibilities, but the one that my eye is drawn to is the king. Why? Because we have pressure here with the queen, we have pressure here with the two rooks. This knight over here has two different responsibilities. It is protecting the rook and is also protecting the knight, but we don't really have any pieces over here around this area of the board. So my eye is not drawn to that. With all this pressure, my eye is drawn to the king. So the king has two different duties. So the first defensive duty is to protect the bishop. The second defensive duty is to protect the knight. We already said that white has a 2 versus 2 on this e7 square. So we have to do a little bit of calculating here, but white can play rook takes e7. Brilliancy, by the way. Knight takes e7. And now you can see the king is overloaded. It cannot defensively protect both the knight and the bishop at the same time. So we follow up with a nice shot. Rook takes e7. King takes e7. We swoop in with the queen. Queen takes g7. That forks the king and the rook. Black will most likely try to block, but it doesn't help. We pick up the rook. And if you lost track when the dust settles, white has two minor pieces to black's rook, and this is completely winning for white. So if we go back to our original puzzle, knowing what we know now about overloaded pieces, if you weren't sure about the solution the first time, here's your second chance. Pause the video now. So again, we have to do a little bit of calculating here, but if we look at the obvious G2 square, there could be an explosion of exchanges on this square. So if we take with the bishop and then white takes with their rook, does white have any overloaded pieces? And the answer is yes. This rook on G2 is now overloaded. It has two different responsibilities. It must guard the king, and it is defending the other rook on E2. And black has the very nice, clever move, queen takes E2. The rook cannot take the queen because its first defensive responsibility, which is to defend the king. And of course, all white can basically do is to take the rook. Black takes back, and this is completely winning for black being up the exchange. So, overloaded pieces, very, very important tactical concept to be aware of in your games. Okay, real quick before I wrap up this video, I wanted to point out a couple of middle game strategies shown in this particular puzzle and position. And the first one is middle game strategy number 6, lining up a battery with a queen and 1 or 2 rooks, which black has done here. And we said in that lesson, normally on a vertical file, on this G file here, the queen wants to be behind 1 rook or in between 2 rooks or maybe behind 2 rooks, Alekine's gun. But we also said when the queen is lined up directly with the enemy king, she does want to be in front sometimes because she'll be threatening checkmate. Now, the queen is not going to be taking this pawn here because of the rook. Now, the original other rook was on E1 and it moved to E2, and that was the starting position of our puzzle. But if we go back, what is the best move for white, knowing that there's a lot of pressure on G2? Here's where middle game strategy number 4 comes into play. Find your opponent's best piece and try to trade it off. The queen is not black's best piece because it's not taking that pawn, but this bishop is an absolute menace, right? So believe it or not, the computer best move is to find that best piece and get rid of it, right? Sacrifice the exchange. White is down the exchange, but white is actually up like 2/10 of a pawn. So chess is such an amazing game. When you start layering, middle game strategy on top of middle game strategy, all these tactics and tactics recognition, you blend all of this stuff together and you find a beautiful sequence. It is truly is a beautiful thing. Hey, thanks for watching. If you think these videos are helpful and you would like me to continue posting them, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.